It's Mackenzie Critiques.
It is Mackenzie Critiques.
Let's get something straight, yeah. It's called Mackenzie Critiques.
Not Mackenzie Dick Rides Your Favorite Anime.
Not Mackenzie Dick Rides Your Favorite Anime.
Not Mackenzie Dick Rides Your Favorite Anime.
Mackenzie Critiques to Mackenzie Dick Rides Your Favorite Anime. This is a video I'm doing in response to a video King Recon did about when he was asking people their top 10 favorite episodes from Gintama. I thought that was actually interesting because then it got me thinking. Like, I got through maybe 3 or 4. Then I was struggling to remember back what were the episodes I really liked. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have an encyclopedic memory of those episodes. So I had to go look back if I could really recollect those episodes that I really enjoyed, that stick out in my mind. So I had to write a few notes just to bring that back. But my top 10 episodes, I'm going to start with, I don't know what I should start with, 10 to 1 or 1? 10 to 1. You know what, I'll keep you guessing, so I'm going to start with 10 first. So at number 10, my 10th favorite episode, which is probably has the least amount of points, but it's still valued there, is episode 180, which was Jiraiya versus Gintoki. That was in the Red Spider arc. Now, that is actually one of my least favorite arcs overall, but what I loved was the visual, the imagery in the fight between Jiraiya and Gintoki, the use of after image, you know, that moment where Jiraiya's doing all the dodging and stuff. That use of the after image was like bizarre. The bizarre image. Then also, you guys remember it went black and white in certain moments between Jiraiya and Gintoki, and I think that thematically was relevant, but visually it was a friggin' masterpiece. So for visual reasons alone, I want to have that at number 10 because I do remember that particular fight really quite vividly because how visually experimental it was. So that's my number 10. Gintama episode 180 was my number 10. At number 9, my 9th favorite Gintama episode was 259. That was in the Courtesan of a Nation arc, and that was when Oboro was revealed. That friggin' basket that he wears on his head was taken off. He was revealed to be someone from Gintoki's past, and along with that revelation, I love the fact that he was so composed. He was so composed, and not to mention that he has Kakashi's voice acting. Kakashi's a beast. That he was chastising Gintoki for not being able to save Showa. He was saying, "You're a dog that keeps barking. Why do you keep doing it? You've lost." And then we got revelations, tidbits of revelations, because even at that point, Gintama held its cards close to its chest. We got information about Tendosho and these guys trying to purge the agitators. Because Shoya was obviously, they were worried that Shoya was raising a bunch of agitators, people to rise up against the occupation and stuff. So we got revelations about his involvement in the purging of the agitators and trying to take on the Joy Patriots and all that stuff. I thought that was brilliant. And then it kind of, the cherry on the top was the fight between Gintoki and Oboro. And obviously Gintoki was holding his own, but that was the first time, at least for me, that I'd seen that Gintoki was visibly shaken and you know, he had a match. He had a legitimate match, you know, against him. And Oboro was the composer. That's why I love Oboro. And I had some concerns of what they did with him in Rakugo, because they'd set him up to be this composed dude. And obviously when Utsuro came into the picture, he got relegated. His position decreased, you know, that effect he had. So that was my number 9, Gintama episode 259. At number 8, my 8th favorite episode of Gintama was 105, and this was the Shinsengumi crisis, Ito. Now, you guys remember the first time I actually properly cried. I think I remember in my reaction, the first time I properly cried was when Ito passed. I was so kind of invested in Ito. He was such a complex villain that he was a genius. He was a smart guy, but because he was the smartest guy in the room, I don't know, some of you guys probably heard me say this, but he couldn't connect with people, you know? He wanted those bonds, but he didn't feel so because his ego, his intellect wouldn't let him. But really what he wanted was the bonds with his fellow Shinsengumi. And what I loved about that episode is the bittersweet nature in which it ended, where they didn't want Ito to die a traitor. They didn't want him to die a traitor, but the only way they could absolve him of that is if they killed him with their own hands. And then obviously we had that fight between Ito and Hijikata, and Hijikata gave him the killing blow. but then I also love the way that episode ends, where that was also the introduction. That arc was the introduction of Bansai, and Bansai had an effect on me. I really liked how cool, laid back Bansai was, thoughtful he was, and then his words to Takasugi at the end, that showed that, you know, in the presence of Gintoki, even Bansai was like Gintoki's someone else, man. Like, there was respect there. Bansai picked up respect about Gintoki. God knows what Takasugi is telling Bansai about Gintoki. He's this, he's that, whatever. And it makes, now I think about it, it makes the episode so much more enriching based on what we saw in Rakugo arc. You know, that's what I love about Gintama, the thread. So I really like that episode. So my number 8 was Gintama episode 105. My number 7, no, not my 5, yeah, Gintama 105, number 8, that was Gintama, number 7, 7th favorite episode of Gintama. It was, I'm trying to see if I'm written here, but I'm see if it works out, like, that order for me. You know what, 7, I think, was the, I don't know what episode it was. What episode was it? Okay, it'll be up in the picture. I'll put it up in the picture what it was. It was the Hashida baby episode. It was episode... Ah, fuck. What episode was it? Hold on a second. It was... Oh, fuck knows, man. Look, it'll be up there. I'll figure it out. But it was the Hashida episode. There was a 2 parts one where Gintoki had to get baby Hashida, the baby, an heir to the company, back to the mother, Ofusa, and just the conversations Gintoki was having with the baby Hashida, and you know, we all thought in the beginning that this was Gintoki's baby from someone else, but it turned out to be some heir to some woman, and her husband was ill, and she really loved the husband. The husband didn't like his father, and the father wanted the baby because he was the male heir to the, you know, the company, that kind of thing. That was such a beautiful episode. That's where the Appo freaking memes came from, and that was also where I cried. It was such a heartfelt moment on the roof with the mother holding Hashida and having a one-to-one with the baby's granddad, you know, and that was such a heartfelt episode. And it's about destiny and about being like, look, letting people choose their own destiny, man. Don't thrust it upon them, this responsibility. And I like that theme, and you know, and the love the mother had for Ashida, and just the general banter that Gintoki had with that baby. It was a moment where we got rid of everyone else, and it was just Gintoki just chuckling away. In a way, Gintoki was very open and honest, yeah, and imparting some wisdom to the baby. The baby clearly doesn't understand or anything, but he was just saying stuff about what he believes. And we got Gintoki's values. We got a lot of what Gintoki values, his value system in there. So I really like that episode. So number 7 was that episode. I forgot what number it was. You have to forgive me. So that was at number 7. Number 6 was Gintama episode 142. That was when Kagura went in rage mode, when Abuto was almost about to kill Shinpachi. I thought that was brilliant because it shows you how multifaceted she was. That was the first time I saw Kagura not be the bubbly, jokey, slapsticky girl that we all know her to be, the Chinese girl. She went in rage mode, and that showed you that, you know, as much as they banter and she hits, you know, Gintoki over there was genuine love for it, and she just lost it. And we don't see her lose it like that. In fact, that might be the only moment where we truly see her lose it like that. And then she learns from that experience. And I think that arc in itself was a first for Gintama, where it was very action heavy. Where Hosen, you know, Night King Hosen, as this formidable villain, is very action packed. But I also like the fact that Obito was introduced, and Obito's Jiraiya's voice actor. So it's all these. I guess it's something you hear, and you automatically kind of just grew out in a fondness for that. So I really liked Obito. I like the fact that Obito threw them to the ledge and kind of saved them from their fall. So that was my number 7. Number 6. Gintama episode 142. Number 5 for me was... it's gotta be it's Gintama episode 75, and it's a filler episode, I think. The filler episode, Gintama episode 75, that's my number 5 choice. That was where Hata's voice actor dubbed Takasugi, and near the end of the episode, for that alone, that is my number 5 episode. I think, you know, there's no secret here that you all know that I freaking love Hata. I want Hata back, and it's very rare in the community. I've heard at least that people give a crap about Hata, but I love Hata. If you're gonna take Gintama as a series, you're gonna take the serious, but you gotta take the comedy. And if we're talking comedy characters, Hata is by far and away my favorite character. But then again, I like little fat, chubby, characters in anything really, like Shigechi and JoJo Part 4 and all that stuff. So number 5 is Gintama episode 75. Not only that, but that episode itself was done really well. But for that moment alone, I think it's up there. My number fourth favorite Gintama episode is Gintama episode 278. 278 particularly because I resonated with it emotionally. You know, as a young boy, you tend not to understand your mothers, why they do certain things and all that kind of thing. And Seta, who's the son of the Yoshiwara, you know, the courtesan in Yoshiwara, the big one that was introduced in Yoshiwara in Flames. I love that episode because she would pack his lunches, and they were always filled up really lot. She would overfeed him. She would basically kind of smother him, but spoil him basically. So whenever he went to school, either he just couldn't eat all of it and he felt bad, or the other children would look at how fortunate he was to have such a big meal. Their meals were kind of insignificant in comparison, so he couldn't really sit down with them and eat as equals. That kind of thing. So I love that, and I love the fact that all the female characters in Gintama were in that episode, and it was really about at the end of the day the mother's love for a son, man. And as someone who's grown up, and I used to take it for granted. I used to be naughty and that kind of thing as a kid. At the end of the day, your mom's looking out for you. They want to feed you. They want to make sure that they have the best for you. So I love that episode. I resonated emotionally with that. So that was my number 4, which was episode 278 of Gintama. My number 3 episode was Gintama. My third favorite Gintama episode at number 3 is Gintama 305. Man, everyone's like, there's so much talk about 305. This is where obviously Gintama in Gintoki we found out that Gintoki had to behead Shoyo, sensei, and that's the moment where not only the puzzle piece for Gintoki is the final puzzle piece in Gintoki, it's the final puzzle piece in Takasugi. Takasugi, and I especially say that because Takasugi, I never liked Takasugi. I thought, what's so special about him? He's one-dimensional, will destroy the world, blah, 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 blah. But by that time, we got so much backstory about the Joy Patriots and the war and all that stuff, the Amanto War. And that was the puzzle piece that fit Takasugi, and it served him more than it served Gintoki. I feel as though it did a lot for Gintoki about what he said and what his words meant throughout the show. Fair enough. But I never really liked Gintoki anyway. I preferred so many other characters. But for a character I didn't much like, it put that puzzle piece in and made me appreciate him way more. It served Takasugi more than anything. So for me, Gintama episode 305 was the best. I also love the fight in itself, the clashing, and learning that in between the clashes and what this meant to these two people clashing. I think it meant a whole lot more to Takasugi, and that's why for me, that's my number 3, Gintama episode 305. My second favorite Gintama episode was, and this might be controversial because I actually put this above 305. It's Gintama episode 322. That's also not a secret that I really enjoyed Rakugo. I think Rakugo arc was better than Farewell Shinsengumi and better than what's it called, Shogun Assassination. So that was where Bansai is basically injured. The Naraku like just battering him. He's cut up. He's bleeding on the battlefield. He's overwhelmed. And then when one of the Naraku tries to go for the kill for Bansai, a sword comes flying. He kills the Naraku, and Gintoki and Shinpachi are already too far away to stop the thing. And then you see that friggin' Takasugi's woken up from his slumber, fam. And that moment, I was like, I saw it coming. I kept saying, wait till Takasugi wakes up. Wait till he wakes up. I want to see Takasugi in a post-revelation world. After all those revelations, that he learned, the reconciliation, but the guy was friggin' knocked out. I wanted to see how he was now. How would he react, waking up to all this? Will he go back to his old ways? Will he fix up, and he friggin' fixed up. But most importantly was his musing about the rain. He looked up to the Rakugo sky, and he was like talking about the cloudy skies, and he compared the rain to tears, and he goes, they finally stopped, and he goes, he was sick of the rain, and all that. Well, just thematically, it just makes so much sense for him. Inside him, it's like a constant rain, right? He's carrying that with him, and the constant rain, I guess, ever since the day, you know, he saw for this friggin' eye that, you know, his sensei was gone, man, someone he loved. So number 2, Gintama episode 322 is my second favorite Gintama episode. And at number 1, man, I don't think this is a secret. If you guys have actually friggin' watched my content, you know that this is why I say it so much. Number 1 is Gintama episode 113. It is the most representative episode of what Gintama is, which can be parody, satire, comedy. The comedy is the best thing about Gintama. Like, honestly, if you can't take the comedy, don't watch Gintama. I feel as though some other animes do the serious bit better than Gintama does. Gintama's full of metaphors and all that kind of thing, so maybe sometimes it can detract from the real kind of just a actual story when it's all about metaphors for characters. It's very much a character piece. It's not about what's happening, and even what's happening can just be a simple scuffle or sword fight, that kind of thing. But it's more about character study and the metaphors about these characters and the thread that follows. So sometimes as a serious anime, it can be not accessible, but as a comedy itself, that episode represented how great it is. It was a Nausicaa parody of Studio Ghibli's Nausicaa. Not only did it parody it well, it did a good parody of it. It was also funny as flip. Kondo getting his dick stuck because they were trying to do toilet hygiene, right? They were trying to have a toilet revolution where they fix up the toilet hygiene, but that in trying to fix the toilet hygiene, they ended up fighting the toilet germs, and it turned into this giant Nausicaa parody. And if any of you guys have seen that film, it's all about flora, fauna, bacteria, just larger than life stuff existing, and we us having no clue, but us against war against nature, I guess, creatures, insects, we're nature. But it parodied that really well. I thought that was a brilliant episode. It best represents what Gintama is. You know, if you can get down with that episode, you can get down with everything else. So that was my number 1, Gintama episode 113. So if you ever watch this, Omar, King Recon, you know, let me know what you think, man. I think mine's very, very different from a lot of people's. I probably share 305 in common. I'm pretty sure I don't share any of the others in common. But to my subscribers, man, let me know what you think. What are your top 10 Gintama episodes? And thank you very much for watching.